Hello everybody, hope you're all very well and welcome to this Here to Help video on expanding double brackets. So what I've got here is I have an equation with essentially two sets of brackets in it, and I want to show you guys today and talk you through the steps on how you can eradicate all those brackets and come up with an answer in its simplest form. So there are two methods you can do this. I'm going to talk you through both of them today. I'm also going to go over some of the negatives with one of those methods. So the first way you can do this is the FOIL method. So FOIL is an acronym, but like an acrostic poem really. That's your FOIL there. And what does it stand for? If you want to have a guess, you can pause the video now. If you haven't paused the video, welcome back. So what does it stand for? Well, F is for first, O is for outside, I is for inside, and L is for last. However, what a lot of people do is they go firsts, outsides, insides, and last, because you're using two terms in each. So either way, it doesn't make much of a difference. It's just that might be a way you know, and they both mean the same thing. So, what is it telling me to do? Well, it's telling me, first of all, to take the firsts. So the firsts are going to be the first terms in each bracket. So our 2x is the first term in this bracket, and our 7x is the first term in this bracket. So to do our first, I'm going to 2x multiplied by 7x, because if I had an equation that was maybe 3x, just random numbers here, 4 plus 7x, what I would be doing is, when I'm trying to eradicate these brackets, I'm going to be multiplying to give me 12x plus, because that plus is going to come down, 3x times 7x is going to give us 21x squared. So what we're saying is, when you're trying to get rid of brackets, you multiply out the brackets. So that's the reason for that multiplication operation there. So we're doing 2x multiplied by 7x because the first terms in each bracket. So that's going to be 2x multiplied by 7x, and that's going to be 2 times 7 is positive 14, x times x is x squared. It's going to be 14x squared. Next, we're going to do the outsides. So when we're saying the outsides, we're talking about overall the two terms which are on the outside of this entire equation. So 2x is on the very outside, there's nothing after it apart from that bracket, and negative 4 is on the outside because there's nothing after it apart from that bracket. So the outsides are 2x and negative 4. So I'm going to be doing 2x multiplied, that's how we get rid of the brackets, by negative 4. So 2 times by negative 4 is negative 8, and x times by no other x is just going to be x. Is going to be negative 8x. How do I know this? Well, it's a key thing to remember. Here's a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative, and a positive times a positive is a positive. So what we have there is we have a negative times a positive, resulting in our answer being a negative. Okay? So, now we're going to be moving on to look at the penultimate letter in this acronym of FOIL, and that is the insides. So looking at this entire equation, the two terms which are on the very inside. So they're going to be surrounded by other terms. So we have a positive 9 here, it's surrounded by the term 7x and 2x. And we have our 7x, it's surrounded by negative 4 and positive 9. So what we have is those are our insides terms, positive 9 and 7x. And in order to eradicate those brackets, we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to be doing it for our insides. It's going to be 9 multiplied by 7x, giving me 63x. And finally, we are going to move on to look at our last. So now again, we'll look at the each bracket. So what is the last term in this bracket here? And what is the last term in this bracket here? Well, this is going to be positive 9, negative 4. So this is going to be purely numbers. All the other equations we'll be doing, I've at least had one letter in them. These are just going to be numbers, this one. So our last, what is last in this bracket? 9, what is last in this bracket? Negative 4. So we're doing 9 multiplied by negative 4, it's going to give us negative 36. So that is what we've got for our first and outsides and insides and our lasts. Now what we're going to do is we are going to put this into an entire equation and see if we can simplify that. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's take our information. So I know I've got positive 14x squared. How do you know that's positive? If there's a plus sign before any term, that means it is positive. If there's a negative sign before any term, that means it is negative. And if there is no sign before any term, like there is for this 2x or this 14x squared, that means it's positive. So no sign means positive, negative sign means negative, and a positive sign means positive. So what we're going to do is we're going to take down our 14x squared. 14x squared. And I'm not going to do add negative, it's just going to be negative 8x, that's what we've got there, minus 8x. Then we've got a positive 63x, so we're going to be adding 63x. And then we have a negative 36 going to be taken away. 36. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that down ever so slightly. So do we have any like terms? Like terms means we can add them together or subtract them from each other. So like terms are essentially terms which can be added together. So an x squared and an x, they're not going to be like terms because they're different. It's like adding an elephant and a kangaroo, it's not going to work. But what I do see is we have a number and there are no other just numbers. So we can't do anything more. We're not going to be able to simplify negative 36 anymore. And I also say we have a 14x squared and there are no other x squareds here, which means we cannot simplify that any further. However, we do have an x and we do have a 63x. So negative 8x and 63x, but the positive and negative, that won't affect it. As long as there are a number and an x, that is going to be perfectly fine to work with. So we're going to be doing now, it's not 8x plus 63x, that is absolutely crucial. We have to pay attention to these signs. We can say that is a negative 8x. So that means we're going to be doing negative 8x plus 63x. Now the way I would do this, I would do 63x, subtract 8x, which is going to give you 55x. Okay, so this means if I add them together, I'm going to get 55x, and then I bring this down, giving me 14x squared. This is positive, so I'm putting that addition sign in there. I'll move that down a wee bit for you guys. And then I'm going to take down my negative 36. Okay, so what we've done is, we've worked out our firsts, our outsides, our insides, and our lasts. And then we have taken the terms down and then simplified them using their like terms. And that is the FOIL method. But I said I would mention the negatives of the FOIL method, and I'm just a way to do that. There are quite a few negatives. Well, let's just actually, before we do that, I am just going to write up here the answer. Our answer is 14x squared plus 55x minus 36. Now I've written that up there. Now you won't be able to see that, but I'll just move it up to show you I have written that in there. And the reason I've written that in there is just to show you guys that we are going to get the same answer because both methods work, but they don't always work. And we'll use the same equation as well. I'm just going to rub this out. So what is a negative of the FOIL method? Well, or a con of the FOIL method. I've just rubbed out that, that's okay, I can put that back in. A negative and a con of the FOIL method, it doesn't always work for all double brackets, whereas the method I'm going to show you now will work for every single equation you're doing with double brackets. So you don't have to worry about that. So I would highly recommend learning the other method. That's just our answer up there as well. So this is the equation we'll do with our two double brackets, 2x plus 9, 7x minus 4. I would recommend learning the method. I'm just a way to show you because it works for every double bracket equation. The reason I showed you the FOIL method was just because I wanted to clarify any questions you may have had about that, and I also wanted you to know what the FOIL method was, because sometimes you might be asked, you know, what do the letters in the FOIL method stand for? Do this question using the FOIL method. So sometimes you will be asked to do the FOIL method, that's why it's still an important skill to know, but I'd highly recommend, unless asked otherwise, do the method. I'm a way to show you guys. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to show you both methods. So this is the method I'm going to show you next. It's our second and final method. And key thing to remember, the symbol before a sign, so for example this positive symbol before that 9 belongs to that 9. So any symbol before, well, any positive or negative symbol before a term belongs to that term. So for example this negative belongs to that 4 because it comes before that 4. Does that make sense? Because that's quite a crucial thing to remember. If you're struggling with that, I would recommend just having a wee recap of positives and negatives. But a key thing just to remember is the symbol, positive or negative, before that number or that term belongs to that term. If there's no symbol, it means it's positive. So this is a positive sign, next, and this is a positive 2x. So what I want to do is I want to split it, and the reason I was talking to you about those symbols is I want to split this in half. Well, I want to split this into two, but I don't want to take that positive symbol, because what it means is, it means what I'll have to do is I'm taking away that 9 symbol. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to split that here. Okay, and then I want to multiply it all. So I want to do 2x, and then I just want to bring this down, 7x minus 4. And then I want to do the same for that 9. I want to do 9, bring that down, 7x minus 4. And once I've done that, I just want to do that, get rid of those brackets, the same you would do if it was just a single bracket equation, because that's all it is now. What is 2x? Multiplied by 7x is 14x squared. 2x multiplied by negative 4, negative 8x. 9, so that was what we did there. Then 9 multiplied by 7x is going to give us positive 63x. And then just numbers here, 9 multiplied by negative 4 is going to give us negative 36. Then, just like we did earlier, we want to use these like terms. So there's no other x squared, so this cannot be simplified any further, and there is no other just number, so that negative 36 cannot be simplified any further. What can we simplify, however? We can simplify our x's. So our x's are going to be negative 8x plus 63x, so I would do, as I said earlier, 63x minus 8x, and that is going to give us 55x, positive 55x. So if I'm adding those together, I've got in positive 55x, that's positive, that symbol belongs there. I know I'm putting a plus sign here because I know this has got to come down and give me 14x squared plus your 55x, subtract your 36. So with 14x squared plus 55x, subtract 36, it's going to finalise answer because we can't simplify that any further. And you can see, you can't see it in the same shot, but you can see that is the same as our green up there. So that shows you that answer is the same, you get the same answer. However, I highly recommend using this method I've just shown you because it works for all double brackets, whereas the FOIL method doesn't work for all double brackets. I just wanted to show you that FOIL method in case you're asked about it and asked to do a question using that method. So this is how you expand double brackets, and thank you very much for watching. And just to let you guys know, this is something you would typically begin to learn in S2 in Scotland. Okay, thank you very much guys, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.